Yo, what's up? This is KallaTheYapper, and I'm back with another reaction. Today I'm going to react to this video made by the Nigerian Perspective called 7 Months Later, Within Waves Did It Again, Genshin Learned Nothing. And I can't wait to see what type of logic argument we're about to use for this in the relation to this conversation of this whole comparison game between, I'm calling her AIM from now on, because I don't know how to pronounce her full name, and Columbina in terms of the whole animation conversation. Because I'm going to say this right now. Sitting here comparing a DPS's animations where she's doing DPS things and comparing that to a sub DPS slash support character whose whole thing is about being elegant, being a little bit aloof. It's like the shit is night and day. To compare both characters' animations and to be like, oh, ooh, better is by far retarded as shit. What's even more crazy is that niggas want to sit here and be like, this character, AIM, blew Star Rail characters out of the water. By what standard did she blow Star Rail characters out of the water? What I find even more crazy is that niggas ain't mentioning Zenless Zero characters. Especially if you want to make the claim that, oh, she blew Hoiverse's entire roster of characters out of the water from all their games. Then where the hell is Zenless Zero at? Mention them niggas. Are we not going to mention Zenless Zero then? If we really want to get down like that? I'm just saying, if you're going to sit here and say that this character AIM blew every character from Hoiverse across the board, from Impact Third all the way to Star Rail out the water, let's put Zenless in the ring too. If we really want to play that game. Let's put Zenless in the ring. I ain't seen nobody mention Zenless Zero this entire time. Anyway, let's get into this reaction. Come out to hear whatever nonsense this is about to be.
About 7 months ago, we had the usual Wooden Waves versus Genshin Impact debates. The gacha space really, as it always has been.
My apologies. My alarm went off. Hold on, let me turn off these alarms so that I don't have to deal with them every 5 minutes. Fill up my reaction. All right, all that's been handled. Let's rewind. Play.
About 7 months ago, we had the usual Wooden Waves versus Genshin Impact debates. The gacha space really, as it always has been and probably always will be, was at war again. But around that time, something especially insane happened. We got a Skirk leak. A leak about a Genshin Impact character that fans had been hearing about and anticipating for the better part of 4 years. And for the people arguing on Genshin's side, that leak was everything. I mean, if we're being honest, at the time when the character was leaked, although nobody would admit it, for a few days, the argument was on Genshin's side. It genuinely felt like Genshin Impact was winning that debate. And really, why wouldn't they? Not only was the character the fan base had been anticipating for years finally leaked, but to Genshin's credit, the character was pretty good. Her animations were nice. And more than anything that happened in that entire argument, it was in that moment that we got those famous words. Why is Wooden Waves scared to release blank? And 7 months ago, blank was KallaTheYapper. And almost as if it was ordained, as if the universe itself wrote it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to feel like that whoever posted that originally wasn't actually a Genshin Impact player, but instead a Genshin Impact player, or rather a former Genshin Impact player pulling bullshit just to cause gotcha tribalism at this point. I'm starting to believe that now. I'm not gonna lie. Now, if the content or the Twitter account that made it post nothing but Genshin stuff all the time, 24/7, this and the third, then I'll be more inclined to believe that that individual is a hardcore Hoyo shell. But until I see that proof, I'm not gonna believe that that person was a Genshin player. I'm gonna believe that they're an ex-Genshin player who wanted to stir the pot for the sake of gotcha tribalism.
To release blank. And 7 months ago, blank was.
And I will say this, yes, Skirk's animations were different and they were unique to her, right? Which made her stand out as a 5-star unit. Something people bitched about when it came down to a Nefa, claiming that her animations don't look like a 5-star unit's animations. It looked like that of a 4-star. Despite the fact that she's a fucking automaton robot who does cleaning and cooking. There's not much things you can do with that. The most dynamic animation that she has is legitimately her ultimate, where she's shooting a rocket fist. But anyway, back to the point, because I reacted to I reacted to a video made by Shy Guy High not that long ago, probably like a week or two ago at this point, and I heard his voice in one of his videos that he posted recently, so it is a he. So he made the claim that Durin had the exact same attack animations as other 5-star and 4-star characters in the game. right? But we knew that this shit was not true. And by him making this claim, he was essentially claiming that Skirk had the exact same animations, attack animations, as Durin, as any 4-star in the game, or any 5-star sword wielder, or 4-star sword wielder. You get the point I'm making, right? I pulled up my examples proving how incorrect and wrong and blatantly not even just misinformation is like you did it by accident without realizing it. But like, to me, he did that shit on purpose. He knew what the fuck he was doing. So I had to call that disinformation. And I rightfully called it out. I was like, bro, you cannot sit here and make the claim that 5-star characters in Genshin have the exact same attack animations when the only thing that is similar is the line of sight in which they swing their swords or shoot their bows or shoot the arrow off their bow or what have you to show us the line of sight and where the attack is going. That is the only thing similar when it comes down to these characters in Genshin Impact. Every last one of them have this golden line that follows them. Catalyst users are the exception, technically, because they don't really have the whole golden line for where their attack is going. They just swing out their attack. And I mean, among Catalyst users, something that's very interesting about Catalyst users is that Catalyst users freaking, each one of them do their attacks differently. Because before, the standard was, a Catalyst user either, A, when they attack the enemy, their element that they're attacking with appears on the enemy immediately, right? Or that it travels from where the character who is a Catalyst user through their attack to the enemy. But then they started changing it up a little bit. Case in point, Hazo, a 4-star Catalyst user. Guess how he attacks? Does he shoot his attack directly at the enemy, or does he just swing his arm in the air and the attack hits the enemy immediately because it's just landing right then and there on the enemy without no travel time? The answer is neither. Hazel, a 4-star Catalyst user, he punched and kicked. He was the first Catalyst user of his kind to use melee attacks. And then after that, we had Wanderer. Wanderer did long range attacks, no doubt. And his attacks traveled directly to the enemy, right? And then, of course, holding his basic attack, it was a charge attack, then it hit the enemy immediately, and then he had his whole stomping ult, which was a really good ult animation, right? And then after what? Motherfucking, I can't remember how Cloud Retainer's attack animations go. I can't remember for the life of me. But even hers were different from Wanderer's and Hazel's. And then Verissa, the most recent one, hers is different from other Catalyst users. Even different from Hazel, who's a melee character. She's out here doing body slams / punch attacks. Then she's like, depending on when she's in her enhanced state, she's punching, she's dive bomb kicking and whatnot. It's like Genshin Impact clearly started playing around with their animations a lot more as time passed on, and what things they were going to do with certain archetypes or weapon archetypes. There we go. So like this whole conversation that Genshin characters don't have different animations from each other was so fucking retarded. That is like, you'd have to be purposely being obtuse and not having your eyes open to sit here and make that claim. That's just me. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
That we got those famous words. Why is Wooden Way scared to release Black?
Also, let's be honest, another thing too, Skirk has two attack formations. The first one is her basic attack animations, and the second one is her enhanced basic attack animations, where she legitimately attacks differently. Where she, depending, like 1-2 slash, and then when the third slash is finished, she legitimately has her giant greatsword that we see her use in her animated short and her character demo trailer, right? That giant ass abyssal shattered glass glacier sword or whatever, right? And she attacks the enemy with it. So anyone making the claim that these characters from Genshin don't have any type of change in their animations or just the same animation pattern as the first 5-star character or Durin or whatever, you are legitimately just being stupid for the sake of it.
is blank, and 7 months ago, blank was KallaTheYapper. And almost as if it was ordained, as if the universe itself wrote it. For the first time, we saw Kuro do something they had never done before. They leaked their own character. And whether you're talking about that moment back then or even right now, saying KallaTheYapper demolishes Kirk would be a massive understatement. I mean, the difference between these two characters is not something as small as night and day. It is closer to heaven and hell. That is to say, it was and still is massive. But as good and happy...
When you're sitting here saying it's the difference between heaven and hell, you are legitimately saying that Skirk's animations are trash, absolutely. There's nothing good about it in this comparison game, when I disagree. There is things that is good about her animations, blatantly. And on top of, from the outfit change to the change in her attack animations, her ultimate acts differently. There's a lot of good to be found in that. A lot of uniqueness to be found in that. And this is not to say that KallaTheYapper doesn't have any uniqueness. I freaking pulled for the character for crying out loud. I fucking love KallaTheYapper's animations. But again, Skirk's isn't bad.
Is not something as small as night and day. It is closer to heaven and hell. That is to say, it was and still is massive. But as good and hype as that moment was, especially for Wooden Ways fans, especially within those arguments at the time, I felt like the moment ended up being so much more than a simple debate win. It served as a checkpoint, really. A point where we could look at these two games and not just compare them, because yes, comparison matters, but also look at them individually.
Comparisons only matter when it's a valid, good faith comparison. That's not bullshit. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm tired of hearing people talking about something, oh, comparison matters, but they don't put in the fact that a comparison can only matter if it's a valid, good comparison, because not all comparisons are good comparisons. Crap. What the fuck happened?
Compare them, because yes, comparison matters, but also look at them individually. Look at how far they each had come on their own, and also look at how much they were compared to any other point in their lifespan. Because now we find ourselves in the exact same situation again, just with significantly newer characters, this time Amieth and Columbina. And because of that, I genuinely believe now is the perfect time to do the same thing again. So look at these two games, look at the current checkpoints they've reached, and see how far they've grown, both within themselves and relative to each other. And even more importantly, see what this situation, this conversation, actually means for the gacha space itself. So if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like the video and let me know your thoughts about the current situation.
All this is gonna do is have Kuro Games, or rather Wuthering Waves dev team, have to keep upping the ante for every last 5-star character they release, because they don't release 4-star characters no more. If that male character, I don't know his name, homeboy look like Luocha from Star Rail, if his animations is not like anything near what AIM is doing in her attack animations, is going to unfortunately drop off players, expectations, because in my opinion, Kuro Game or Wuthering Waves devs are amping up the expectation for animations for their 5-star characters up to the nth degree. And if those characters don't reach that or match that at all, it's going to be a major problem moving forward in the game. Because a lot of these Kuro bots, they live and die by the fact that, oh, look how cool our game's animations are. Well, guess what? If the next 5-star character after AIM is not having animations on the same level as that, it's a wrap, twin. Their expectations are going to fall the fuck off. They're going to be like, why isn't this male character, the new male character, why isn't his animation? Oh my goodness, don't even get me started on niggas who wanted new male characters in the game for Wuthering Waves. They're going to be even more disappointed. Because if he has any type of lackluster animations that's not on the same level as hers, people are going to be like, y'all put all that effort into her, but you didn't decide to put any effort into this male character, the new one that y'all, marketed. Like, what the heck is going on here? I understand this is gathering wives, but like, male characters exist in this game too, even if they're like a rare breed. Why aren't they getting the same level of treatment for their animations? Man, now I'm sitting here thinking about it. Brant's animations suck in comparison to Aim's. Oh my lord! If you really think about every male character that's been released in Wuthering Waves, their animations suck genuinely in comparison to the female counterpart. Especially when we get to the 5-star female characters, the male characters' animations suck in comparison. Like, genu fucking like. Oh my goodness! Just thinking about that is crazy.
Situation. How do you feel about both games right now, especially compared to the last time we had a situation like this? Has your appreciation for either game or both grown significantly? Or have your feelings towards this game stayed exactly the same since the last time?
I feel appreciation towards both games. But what I'm not going to do is dishonestly compare a DPS to a sub DPS / support character and be like, oh, the DPS's animations are better because she's doing more of her animations. It's like, yeah, okay. But that doesn't mean that Columbina's animations are bad. By what's like this whole conversation doesn't make any sense, especially when you ask the question, by what standard are we saying that Columbina's animations are bad? Oh, is her animations clipping when she's doing a movement? Does it look janky? Does it look stiff? Like, no one's asking those questions. It is purely on the basis of the fact that AIM is doing what 3EX special type skills that look like ultimates, and then have a cool looking has a very cool ultimate where she has like this like mecha Zord is bringing down a giant sword to the earth and slamming it in, right? AKA what you expect a DPS character to be doing, right? Do you not expect that of a DPS versus a support character? Like, come on now. But again, no one's asking those actual questions about animation for why it is that Columbina's animations suck. It is purely based on hype and ore farming brownie points for why it is that people deem AIM's animations to be better than Columbina's.
Tell me all that and more in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and notification bell on any of my future videos. Alright, let's get into it. See, right now within the gacha space, we're watching history flat out repeat itself, and in a surprisingly similar fashion. See, a couple of weeks ago, we got the Columbina leaks, and to Genshin Impact fans, those leaks were absolutely awesome. It felt untouchable, like nothing could top this. And in that time, that exact same question came back up. Why?
I don't know about any Genshin Impact player claiming or feeling like nothing could top Columbina's animations. I think even within Genshin Impact, people can sit here and make the argument of if they think Columbina's animations are as cool as like, or cooler in comparison to Mavuika, cooler in comparison to like Nouvelets, cooler in comparison to Nahida or Faruzan or Wanderer or Cloud Retainer, Zhongli, Venti, Fischl, Mona, Kirara. Like, I can list off so many characters in the damn game that someone could be like, oh, I feel like this character's animations are cooler than Columbina's. Because that's what this whole thing centers around. It doesn't even center around about whose animations are better, because better animations just means clean, smooth, executed animations where there's no clipping, there's no mess ups. It's just smooth. It's just nice to see, right? This whole entire conversation is purely based on vibe. Oh, this DPS character having this sword slam into the ground with her as a DPS. Oh, I love how that feels. I love how that looks. Columbina. Oh, she's like doing these little elegant movements with her body. She's moving her hands around. She's spinning. She's twirling like a little bit of a dancer. Look like she's enjoying life as she does it. Oh, that looks cool. That looks clean. I like how that feels, right? This whole conversation is only purely based off feels and not actually whether or not the animations are good or not.
Why is Kuro scared to release Black? But this time, instead of KallaTheYapper, the Black being referenced there was Amieth. And just like before, using the exact same...
Amieth? Niggas didn't even know who Amieth was. Who on Twitter? I need someone to bring this proof to me. That who was on Twitter talking about some, oh, they're afraid to show Amieth. If her name is Amieth, then okay, thank God. I mean, I can keep calling her AIM. Who was sitting here talking about some Kuro Games was afraid to release AIM? Because I highly doubt anybody said that shit. And people only decided to make the comparison argument. And the moment people saw that, one, design elements of Amia was too close to home to fucking Sirenes. And then, boom, that's why we got this whole, oh, Amia versus Columbina, Amia versus Cyrene, Amia versus whoever the fuck. Again, I could be wrong about this timeline right now. Someone tell me what the fuck happened on Twitter for this conversation to even spark off the way that it did.
To release Black. But this time, instead of KallaTheYapper, the Black being referenced there was Amieth. And just like before, using the exact same medium, Geoff Keighley, the creator of the Game Awards, Kuro Games leaked Amieth. And let's just say history repeated itself a little too well.
Oh my god, Big Spear! She sings! Oh my god, please tell me she's got a singing ult.
I can't tell which is the skill and which... I'm pretty sure this is the ult. There's 3 different animations here. 3 different, like, separate animations. And they're flying around. That reminds me of playing through Dynasty Warriors Gundam. If anyone's...
I'm not gonna lie, seeing the whole flying thing, and people are like, oh, look how cool that is. I'm just thinking to myself, if Genshin Impact did this with any of one of their playable characters, these niggas will be the first to be like, oh, look how predatory this is. Despite the fact Genshin Impact implements exploration functions, that would allow for you to fly without needing to pull for a character that can fly. Especially in a region where flying is something that you can do versus other regions where flying is not something that's a necessity, since majority of the shit is on the fucking ground or underground to reach. But, you know, it is something I wanted to note, something I wanted to mention. I saw in the comment section a couple months ago, or probably like a month or two ago, or before Durant was about to be released, actually, that people were upset. There were some people upset in comment section being like, why can't Durant fly? And I was like, bro, if Durant had the ability to fly, y'all would be the first to say that this is predatory business practice, because they're releasing a playable character with an exploration function in the new region of Nightcry, acting as if we need to fly in Nightcry when we really don't. That's just my position on that. It don't matter what Genshin Impact does. The Genshin Impact, if they put an exploration function in a character or if they don't, someone's gonna bitch about it.
Separate animation. And the flying around. That reminds me of playing through Dynasty Warriors Gundam, if anyone's played that.
Y'all saw Columbina? Y'all saw how crazy she was? Columbina? Bro, who the fuck cares about Columbina? Bro, y'all just...
This nigga Cosmos legitly, his entire most recent content he's ever made on his channel is legitly built off gacha tribalism. Which, that's fine. I'm not gonna add like, you know, make your money to him. But like, when it's every damn video, it's like, bro, this shit gets tiring.
Just gameplay of aliens, bro! This shit is absolutely crazy!
Now, one thing that's really interesting to me about this whole situation is that when you actually think about it, these two moments are just as different within themselves as they are similar to each other. I mean, think about it. Back during the KallaTheYapper situation, everything about both games, from the characters to the environments, were significantly different. I mean, in Genshin Impact, we're still in Natlan, while in Wooden Ways, we're just entering Septimont. But now, everything about both games individually has changed. And I don't just mean the characters being compared, I mean the environments those characters exist in. Right now, we're experiencing the Nordcry story in Genshin Impact and the Lahiri story in Wooden Waves. And it goes without saying that the stories being told, the situations surrounding both games, even the states the games are in right now are completely different. And that's the interesting part. That difference between these two individual games is actually the similarity they share. And it is in that understanding that we can recognize another thing both of these games share: growth. Because regardless of how you personally feel about either game, it is honestly undeniable that both of these games have grown to an extent. As much as Genshin Impact is usually talked about in a bad light, even within this community, we can still admit that there has been growth within Genshin Impact across many aspects of the game. And we can say the same thing for
Okay. If that's what you're saying here at this point in time in the video, then why in the world does your title say Genshin never learned nothing? I'm curious to know what that part of this video is going to be about. Also, something else that's something worth mentioning. I remember someone in the comment section I was having a back and forth with, where someone was like, oh, so they cut away from Skirk, you know, putting the guitar away, or like showing us, you know, her fingers on the guitar, playing it in Skirk's story quest. Therefore, that was bad animation. Therefore, or it was lazy because they cut. They cut to the next scene, right?
Community. We can still admit that there has been growth within.
Yet we sit here in this scene right here, see her playing her guitar, legitly see her playing it. Ding. And what's crazy is Shakona is the exact same way. Shakona, she doesn't like, from what I remember of her animations. I didn't pull for Shakona, unfortunately. Shakona, when it comes to her animations, she's not pulling on the string of the guitar when she's playing it. Her hands graze against it as if she's pulling on the string. You don't see the string pull out as she's grabbing it. The ding, ding, ding when she's playing her little guitar. You don't see that shit. But for some reason, people act like, oh, Skirk not doing that is a problem. But if you point the same thing with Shakona, niggas don't want to talk about that. Crazy, right? Actually, you know what? Just to ensure that I'm the truth, let me turn on my PS5. Let me turn this bitch on. I'm gonna turn this shit on, and I'm going to, since Shakona's banner is still up right now, and it's about 3 days left before oh, my bad. My I guess my mic cut out. So anyway, like I was saying, Shakona's banner is still up right now. So I'm going to check Shakona's animations just to be sure that I'm absolutely correct about what I'm talking about here, so I don't sound like I'm talking out of my ass. Just give me one moment. My bad, this freaking screen is loading right now. It's taking a little minute. But anyway, hold up, let me go back.
To an extent. As much as Genshin Impact is usually talked about in a bad light, even within this community, we can still admit that there has been growth within Genshin Impact across many aspects of it.
Even the way she plays the guitar, she has that little ripple effect of sound that shows, oh, the note has been played. When she swiped her hand against it. Which is really neat. It signifies to us that the character is indeed playing the guitar. Anyway. Oh, wow. I have half the amount of characters in the game. That's interesting. Okay. Shakona. Click view. Okay. So, unfortunately, I don't think I can find an... Oh, hold up. I just go to the trial. Why am I going to the gallery for? I could have just went to the trial. Hold up. All right. Okay. Maybe it's in her basic attack. Maybe it's her idle animation. Okay, she's not playing her guitar at all right now. She's just like tapping on the air and musical notes are appearing. Okay. You gonna show me what the rest you got, Twin, or what? I'm pretty sure she pulls out a guitar and play it, does she not? In her idle animations? If she does not do that in her animations, that's kind of crazy. Because the last time I remember seeing her do that crap was back in the 2.3 story. Come on, show me something, girl. Don't just stand there. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. They need to do this thing where they increase the... Oh, there we go. Okay, she's playing the guitar in her idle animation right now. Bro, her fingers are not pulling on the strings at all. They're like just above it. As like musical notes are echoing into the air. They're just like in Genshin. Difference is like she has like a musical note string like up here right in front of her. And then it disappears after she finishes her animation. So even then, if someone wants to sit here and argue that Skirk is somehow lazy, the devs were lazy with not showing Skirk play her guitar or whatever, guess fucking what, bro? First of all, she was playing her guitar in her story quest. And secondly, bro, both Genshin and Wuwa do the same thing where they don't actually have characters actually pull on the strings of the instruments that the playable character is canonically known for having. Like, she's not even pulling on the string. She's just grazing her hand across it as if she's pulling it, which is the same thing as Skirk. To me, that's not a bad thing, but to sit here and try to act like what Skirk had going on is bad and lazy, but then not mention Shakona in the same vein being just as lazy, by their standard, is fucking crazy as fuck. It's fucking retarded, I would claim. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Of the game. And we can say the same thing for Wooden Waves, all the way from Renesita. Even though there were points that caused a lot of complaints and discussions, we can still say that Renesita represented real growth for the game. And even now, as we're starting the highway, all we're seeing is more growth. But like I mentioned earlier, even though both of these games have grown, they have only grown to an extent. And it's when we start to talk about that word, extent, that this conversation shifts entirely. See, back during the KallaTheYapper Skirk conversation, I made a video where I talked about the necessity of comparison, not just between Wooden Waves and Genshin Impact, but within gacha games as a whole. And I want to play a section from that video, and this is very important because surprisingly, what I'm about to play for you is not something I said directly. It's something I referenced from another prominent gacha creator, Gacha Smack. And even though he said this 7 months ago, I genuinely believe that when we're talking about the extent of growth, what he said back then still applies right now. Here it is.
Here's the thing, guys. The difference between the developers of all these different gacha games and how they're going to treat their community is based off of the hunger meter. How hungry are they? Are they starving? That's back here. Do they got some food on the table? Starting to experience a bit of contentment, a bit of complacency? Or Do they got a fucking buffet? Is food falling off of the table to the point where they're able to sandbag, milk the cow, Hoyoverse level?
And just like I said before, he was absolutely right. When all is said and done, what really matters to the success of any gacha game, and to how seriously we should take a gacha developer, is how hungry these developers are. And now, several months later, finding ourselves in this same situation again between Wooden Waves and Genshin Impact, we're actively seeing the results of that hunger. The hunger of these individual gacha developers. Because when we start to talk about the extent of growth between these two games, comparison between them is not even a conversation that anyone can have in good faith. And that is true regardless of where you stand in the discussion. And that is absolutely...
Hold up, what do you think? Let me go back again. What do you think?
That hunger. The hunger of these individual gacha developers. Because when we start to talk about the extent of growth between these two games, comparison between them is not even a conversation that anyone can have in good faith. And that is true regardless of where you stand in the discussion. And that is absolutely...
It's not a conversation anyone can have in good faith. I'm okay. I'm still a little lost whether or not he said that's a conversation that no one can have in good faith or that everyone can have in good faith. I'm going to assume it's the latter. Okay, I'm gonna say this. If it is the latter, yes, people are able to engage in this conversation of comparison between both games in good faith. It is most definitely possible. It just people deliberately choose not to because they want to have this one up on the other game. Whether it be the Hoyo shows or the Korobots, they want to have their one up. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to be honest with the comparison argument. I'm not going to sit here and be dishonest about it. As shown with my most recent content that I started doing, which is my reaction content, where I legitimately talk about in depth related to the video in question and the conversation about it. Right? Are there cool animations that characters in Wuwa does? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But what's the difference between Genshin and Wuthering Waves? Wuthering Waves is fast-paced combat. And what I mean by fast-paced, it means characters are doing all these extra animations and stuff in their ultimate. Or in their like attack patterns and whatnot, right? They're doing combos and all this other shit. Just like how in Zenless Zone Zero, characters do combos. Right? Genshin on the other hand, doesn't need to do this whole combo thing because it's not designed for combo attacking intro outro skill shit. It's only designed for, pop elemental skill or ult, plant it, get the support ready, get the buffer ready, swap to the DPS or your sub DPS, get them ready, get back to the main DPS, let it have it. It's as simple, as straightforward as that. Right? Also, another thing that I think was worth mentioning is this. Something someone said in my comment section, I think in two videos ago that I made, someone made this interesting point about like, because they had said to me like, what do you mean by like fast pace? Because they argued that Genshin Impact was more fast paced in comparison to Wuthering Waves, based purely on the fact of this whole rotation thing, where you're not waiting to build up the whole concerto bar. Pretty sure that's what it is, right? The swap mechanic bar, right? To then swap to another character to deal damage to them. Because in Genshin Impact, you legitimately pop your elemental skill or burst, depending on what the character is and what they want to do and what they need to do for the team. And then you just swap to the DPS and then you let it have it, right? So it's as quick as possible. And in that vein, I'm not gonna lie, Genshin Impact does come off as a faster game because we're not taking so much time to build up the swap mechanic bar, or we're not taking so much time because we need to do the character's skill and then enhance basic attack and then their echo skill and doing plunge, double jumping, slash in the air, this and the third. So like in that vein, yes, Genshin Impact is faster because we're not wasting time doing all that extra shit. Especially knowing that in-game content is literally time-gated and you need to get stuff done immediately. So it makes sense not for Genshin Impact not to have that many animations in their game, especially if we're talking about like in the relation to like in-game content. Like who the fuck is going to sit here and want to waste precious seconds knowing that every second counts in in-game content, right? To be the person made a valid point. Actually, let me see if I can find their name, because it was in my video when I reacted to Saint Tone Toss's video about Columbina, which honestly it was the most forced ass reaction I've ever seen that nigga do. But anyway, let me see if I can go to the video. Here it is. It was 7 days ago, which is crazy that it's been a week since the last time I posted a reaction. It's freaking diabolical. Like wow. Anyway, let me see if I can find my most recent comments and then get into that. Okay, let's see. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Mm-hmm. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Um. Where is it? I could have swore it was around here somewhere. Sorry, just give me a second where I try to find this damn thing. Because it was such a good comment that I was like, I can't really refute the point that they're making. Because it's a valid point. God damn it, where is it? Where is you? Where are you? Where are you? Damn it. Man, I wish I pinned this comment. Hold up. Oh, I think this may be it right here. By Re 720. With Wuwa over animates for the sake of looking cool. This is like fine most of the time, but who is watching animations when your combat your combat in Wuwa? Wait, when you're in combat in Wuwa, you're focusing on combat. Some of the characters I pull for literally never use. I literally never use. Okay, some of the characters I pulled for, I literally never use because their animations and effects are distracting as fuck in an actual fight. Queen Yun, Qing Yun is the worst offender, aka the Wandering Swordsman. Sorry, I couldn't pronounce his name properly. Hold up. Maybe that wasn't that comment, but I think that was one of the comments that was like really good in my opinion. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hold up. Oh my god, I can't find this comment. It was a really good comment. It was diabolically good in my opinion. Oh my goodness. For the life of me, I can't find this comment. Ah, man. Okay. Since I can't find the comments I'm looking for, hopefully the person who originally commented on my channel about this point they made lets themselves be known in the comment section. Hopefully. Because the point they made was just a really good point, and it was just like, yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, I think we're just gonna continue the video now, and not gonna waste more time. Granted, y'all niggas said y'all love freaking hour-long reactions in the first place. So I'm gonna, okay, this reaction shouldn't even be an hour long. I'm gonna be a fucking referral with y'all. If it does end up an hour long, that's my fault. It shouldn't have been. Anyway, let's continue.
Absolutely insane because these two games are comparatively similar. Both of these games have always had and still have insane potential for exponential growth. But we're only seeing that exponential growth fully realized in one of these games. And we can see it clearly right now in Lahiroi. I mean, exploring this region, being immersed in it, you start to feel the Renesita effects all over again. It has become genuinely hard to look at Lahiroi and believe that I'm still playing the same game that I played in Renesita. The growth has been insane. But here's what's even more.
Are we really gonna say that it's growth? I wouldn't claim that's growth. I think that's change in scenery and them leaving behind their post-apocalyptic feel of their game. Right? Because one of the biggest things that people who wanted a Genshin killer said about Wuthering Waves was that it was gritty, it was dark, it wasn't childish. Also, why in the hell, sorry to correct your grammar, Nigerian perspective, but why in the hell do you have Renesita spelt with an E and an A right there? Or rather, just the E. Because I'm pretty sure Renesita doesn't have an E. It has an I. It's Rinascite. Last time I checked, Renesita was not spelled with an E in it. But yeah, I'll double check this shit right now. Just to be correct on the matter. I'm going to search it on my phone. Renesita. Wuwa. Yep. He put an E in here instead of an I, which understandable. Sometimes, but I don't know who his editor is, but his editor needs to be double checking their spelling first before they, release these videos. In my honest God opinion. Something I noticed that I don't know why it is. I wouldn't say that this is like some WooWa exclusive thing, but two back-to-back content creators who predominantly cover WooWa and glaze the fuck out of it, I have seen them do multiple spelling errors when it comes down to like certain things for like naming things. Not Ethan, what's his name? Blazion, he spelled Amia or Amethia wrong because he forgot to put the A in there. And now this we're gonna see the thing. Granted, this is probably the second time I caught the Nigerian perspective having a grammar error in one of my reactions. I think this is the second time I caught an error in grammar or spelling rather.
Become genuinely hard to look at Lahira and believe that I'm still playing the same game that I played in Renaissance. The growth has been insane. But here's what's even more insane. Even if you cannot agree that yes, there has been growth within Genshin Impact, can we confidently say that the growth we've experienced there is even half of what we're seeing in Wooden Waves? Because that is the actual crux of the Genshin Impact versus Wooden Waves debate. See, I've said this multiple times in multiple videos and I'll say it again. When it comes to what is directly being given to us, whether we're talking mechanics, environments, characters, the overall polish, these games came out as equals. To be honest, right now, it could have been any game that could have come out on top. There is nothing that makes Wooden Waves inherently better than Genshin Impact. But what gives Wooden Waves that edge, that step up every single time, is its hunger. Because even though these games are equal, one developer continually works on their game, continually pushes to make it better. One has that relentless drive to keep improving, while the other is largely
Hold up.
content with what they already have. To the point
Content with what they have because they don't need to really change the fundamental core design of their game. Right? Because I keep seeing this complaint about Genshin Impact needing to change, but then it's like it gets to the point where you keep having that conversation to the point that people want Genshin Impact to turn into WooWa, like bar for bar. They don't want Genshin to have their own unique personality to itself. They want Genshin to literally just become WooWa. And it's like, no, it shouldn't be that. Are there like certain aspects of Genshin that needs to be updated? Yeah, sure. Things that still haven't been touched on, yeah, absolutely. I know someone's gonna mention the skip button or the artifact loadout or the fucking being able to dive into domains whenever the fuck you want, during whatever time of the day you want, right? Those three things versus everything else that Genshin Impact has done to improve the game is like, why aren't we mentioning the improvements that the game has done, but we're only gonna focus on the negatives? That's just my opinion, right? Because I feel like that's a little dishonest, right? Because people will focus on those three things and be like, oh, the game is not going to be good purely on the basis of those three quality of life not being implemented into the game. Oh, four, technically. Did I mention skip button already? I don't think I mentioned skip button, but if I did, you get the point I'm making. If I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. So based off these 3/4 QOL updates, people will deem that Genshin Impact is still a bad game, which makes no fucking sense. Despite the fact the updates to the game that we have gotten have legitimately made the game more, one, easier to explore, blatantly, meaning you can get your rewards easier. When it comes to quest lines and being like, oh man, I've been forced to start a quest line and I couldn't, because like back in the day, which interesting that people don't mention this shit, it was just so fucking weird to me, is that back in the day, for Genshin Impact, you had to finish a quest that a playable character was in before you could play another quest that was like the main story content quest. Because if you didn't, you couldn't play the main story content. Because it would be like, oh, a character is in the middle of another quest right now. And you didn't know what quest that could be. Guess what Genshin Impact did? They enabled the what? The focus feature. Which, guess what? Has the story focus itself purely on the quest that you are doing right now, so that, guess what, regardless of the fact if the character was in that quest or if they were off in another quest, they will be dragged to this quest so that you'll be able to play it. Daily commissions got updated. People still bitch about daily commissions despite the fact how easy it is to do your dailies now. It is so easy compared to what was back in version 1. Version 2, version 3. It's not until version 4 that they changed how we would do daily commissions with the encounter point system. But some idiots out here like the Gacha DDG2 is going to be like, oh, the encounter system was bad, despite the fact it is legitimately objectively a good implementation that makes doing dailies easier than it ever was in the game. What about 100% exploration in Genshin Impact? Because I know that was something people complained about back in the day. Guess what? They legitly updated their treasure compasses back in version 4. Again, that allowed for you to find even the challenge markers along with chests. Meaning any challenge marker that you may have missed without realizing it, guess what? The treasure compass for each and every region will mark it. Nodcry's treasure compass is even better than every other treasure compass that came before because it legitimately shows you a wide range of where chests are located and time-gated challenge or time challenges are, right? Meaning it's making exploration easier for you by pointing out to you where exactly to go or how many chests are within your vicinity or something that would allow for you to obtain primos from. But no one wants to talk about that. What about when you freaking go farm for boss materials to level up characters? Before, you could not obtain multiple drops from the boss. 3 times drops. You couldn't do that before. You can only get to a certain amount and that's it. Right? Even with condensed resin, you can only get a certain amount. But as time went on, you get 3 times the drops with condensed resin, and for spending 40 resin means you get 3 times the drop as well. And that plays into the whole encounter point system, aka your daily commissions now, which means you can legitimately just go farm for artifacts and finish your daily commissions. But no one wants to talk about that. When it comes to the freaking back to the whole farming for boss mats, right? Before you could only do it one time and then you have to teleport away from the boss for it to refresh and then teleport back to the boss so that it can respawn or whatever, right? Now it's the moment you defeat the boss and collect your rewards from it, it instantly respawns, so you don't have to wait. AKA that's a QOL, a good QOL, meaning you don't have to waste time running back and then running away, then coming back. But no one talks about these things, right? If people want to sit here and say that Genshin Impact did not improve or still has not improved as time has went on since like version 3 to version 4 to version 5, you are legitimately lying to yourself. Or you are just repeating talking points that other content creators have said, which they believe that they are objectively true on when they're not. Legitimately, you can go back to every last Genshin live stream that has happened over the course of the last 2 years, and you're going to see them talk about how, oh, here's the QOL update for this, here's the QOL update for that. Regardless of how you feel, if the QOL was a necessary one that people wanted, or something people didn't really ask for, a QOL is still a good QOL, nonetheless. A QOL is still a QOL, regardless how you feel about it. Right? This is something I just needed to state and get off my chest.
Continually pushes to make it better. One has that relentless drive to keep improving, while the other is largely content with what they already have. To the point where even when the other developer shows signs of hunger, moments where it feels like they want the game to be better, you quickly realize that the growth being shown still is not enough for players to take it seriously. And the clearest evidence of that, almost a personification of the idea itself, is what we're seeing right now between Amyth and Columbina. In Amyth, we're quite literally seeing the growth of Wooden Ways made visible. I mean, I think we can all agree that in a lineup...
Is it really growth, or is it just them really putting so much into this character, only for this character to be forgotten legitimately in the next month?
Of Wooden Ways characters that consistently go beyond expectations and genuinely excite players, Amyth stands a cut above everyone else. Everything that we have seen about this character has given us the idea, or really the certainty, that there might really never be a time where Wooden Ways doesn't prove its own growth. Columbina, on the other hand, I think perfectly represents Genshin Impact, because with Columbina, we do see growth. She is different from other characters, she moves differently, her animations, especially her ultimates, are more refined. There is clearly more polish here, a visual difference compared to what came before. But the real question is this: is that difference enough to care about her significantly as a character? Is it enough?
Yes, especially if you played the damn story quest.
To feel satisfied after 3 to 4 years of waiting? Because
yes, because another thing that's worth mentioning is that so many people had their headcanon that Columbina was going to be this eldritch creature of an angel based off fan animations that people believe are true. So if you're one of those individuals who believe that those fan animations were 100% true to this character, go ahead and throw that shit to the door and in the trash can, because guess what? Those were not true, and your headcanon is based off bullshit.
Is that difference enough to care about her significantly as a character? Is it enough to feel satisfied after 3 to 4 years of waiting? Because to me...
Yeah, it is. Because I need to say this as well. What did niggas expect Columbina to do? Genuinely. Because guess what? Before her character release, before we even came to Not Cry, there is legitimately no expectation of her character when it comes to combat. Other than the fact that both Wanderer and Child have comments about Columbina that's like, oh, I feel creeped out around her, or oh, she's someone to like not like, she's someone that you need to watch her back around or whatever, right? Or don't be fooled by her, you know, calm demeanor and expression or whatever, some shit like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Someone in my comment section can quote the lines for me. But you get the point. Those are the only expectations we had or things we can pull from related to Columbina's character. Outside of that, there was no freaking expectation of her combat abilities or combat skills or animations prior to her character being leaked or her animations being leaked and what she does in her animations. So if someone wants to play that argument, go ahead. You already off on the wrong foot. I'm just being honest with you. Because even that's not a valid argument to be like, oh, Columbina's bad.
Difference enough to care about her significantly as a character? Is it enough to feel satisfied after 3 to 4 years of waiting? Because to me, it is not nearly enough. See, I genuinely believe that very soon, the Wither Waves versus Genshin Impact debate is going to become a thing of the... To me, it is not nearly enough.
Based on what or why it's not nearly enough? Because your questions are easy to be answered. Again, I would like to ask, Nigerian perspective, what in the fuck were your expectations for Columbina's animations when it came down to her like ult animation or basic attack animation or skill animation? Well, genuinely, what was your expectation? Did you think she was gonna drop the moon on the fucking planet? Like this is fucking Star Rail? If so, you're already off wrong. So I would love to know for my people in my comment section right now, especially for the Wuwa players who either quit Genshin or still play Genshin alongside Withering Waves, and they were excited for Columbina. Please tell me, what in the fuck was your expectation for Columbina's animations? What did you expect her to do? Especially considering the fact that, one, Columbina is not a DPS. She is a sub-DPS / support character. So, please tell me, what in the fuck did y'all expect Columbina to do? Because my expectation, I didn't have an expectation. Not because I think Genshin Impact is a trash, terrible game that doesn't deserve any expectations that I put place on it. Right? But purely because of the fact that, one, I had no idea what this character would and wouldn't do. Same thing with Arlecchino. Who would have thought Arlecchino would have this Crimson Moon in her ultimate animation? Nobody did. What about Mavuika? Who would have thought that Mavuika would leap into the air with a freaking motorcycle, phlogiston motorcycle, and then slash her enemy down? Actually, dive bomb attacks. Who would have thought? No one did. For Nahida, the Dendro Archon. What expectations people have of the Dendro Archon? Did y'all think that the Dendro Archon would like cause a fucking giant tree to burst out of the ground and start grabbing all her opponents and crush them? Did y'all expect that to happen for Nahida? Hope to God not, because that's not the type of animations to expect from Genshin Impact's game. Or especially from a character like Nahida. It doesn't make sense for that expectation. Anyway, let's continue the video.
See, I genuinely believe that very soon, the Wither Waves versus Genshin Impact debate is going to become a thing of the past. I mean, with the way Wither Waves is pushing the gacha space right now, and with the number of genuinely impressive gacha games on the horizon, that conversation cannot stay the same forever. I'm talking games like Arc Knights, whose release is just a couple days away, or Silver Palace, which keeps showing us more and more gameplay almost every single week at this point. We're seeing more gacha games actively trying to enter the conversation, actively trying to compete at that level. And really, with how far ahead Wither Waves is compared to Genshin Impact right now, the moment...
In what terms is Withering Waves ahead of Genshin Impact? Because they still have the same problems they're having in their story writing. They're still having the same problems that they're having when it comes down to optimization of their game. Before someone's be like, oh, that's for mobile, it's not for console and PC. Guess what? The majority of players who play gacha games are on fucking mobile. So we go ahead and shut the fuck up with that. Withering Waves still does the same exact predatory business practice that people bitch about Hoyoverse doing when it comes down to releasing the DPS after their best in slot teammate, characters needing their weapons to perform where they should be performing. 50/50 is still on the character banner. Even if it's not on the weapon banner, it's still on the character banner. And you still have to lose your 50/50 or win it to get or lose to the character that you want. So, in what way is Withering Waves exceeding past Genshin? I need to know. Oh, is it the exploration? In my opinion, both exploration for both games is fine. Because guess what? Both games provide exploration tools built into the damn game themselves, so that you didn't need to pull for a character to be able to like, oh, I need this character to explore X region, when you don't. People keep making this argument about Genshin Impact when it's not fucking true. You wanna know how I know it's true? Because ever since from version 5.0 to version 5.3, I didn't pull for no Natlan character, and I used the damn Saurians all across Natlan to solve puzzles, to explore deeper underground, to unlock mechanisms, and so on and so forth. So, if I can do that with the Saurians, that means there was no need for me to pull for any Natlan character who had certain traversal perks built into their kits. That's what that fucking means. And let's say I don't have a Natlan character in my team as I'm exploring Natlan. Am I about to waste precious seconds of my free time to be like, let me change the team to a Natlan character team? Or am I going to use the damn Saurian that's legitly right there? And again, same damn Saurians that are legitly within walking distance of each other. Because there's enemy Saurians across the entirety of Natlan's map. And you can kill them to turn them into the traversal mechanic to then use them. Or you can transform into them right as they're trying to attack you. Legitly, go check out my exploration video that I talked about in comparison to Genshin and Withering Waves. Go back to that video and go to my Saurian part where I mentioned the Saurians. I legitly put up an interactive map that shows every location of every Saurian in Natlan. They are legitly within walking distance of each other. So before someone be like, oh man, the Saurians are too scarce, you can't find them when you need them, they legitly appear right as you're walking up to them. Or even when you're, doing exploration quests where you're like digging underground and whatnot. Saurians legitly appear in the area for you to turn into, or the Saurian exploration mechanic itself legitly is standing right there as you dig underground and be like, oh, I need something to continue forward. Oh, there it is right there. Turn into it. So y'all can miss me with that. Anyway.
The way. Or Silver Palace, which keeps showing us more and more gameplay almost every single week.
I saw a YouTube short of Silver Palace and some golden chick stomping on our main character right here. It was some diabolical work, and I was like, bruh, I need that. Let's go back.
Is pushing the gacha space right now. And with the number of genuinely impressive gacha games on the horizon, that conversation cannot stay the same forever.
Oh, another aspect of Wuwa versus Genshin and what Wuwa is quote unquote doing better. What are we talking about? Animations? Genshin's animations are pretty good. Withering Waves animations are also good. Trying to see which one is falling off in animation quality, because neither are. Someone tell me when Genshin Impact's animation started becoming pixelated. Interactivity in the midst of the quest. And what I mean by that, I mean like, oh, you have to press a certain button at a certain time type shit. Genshin started doing that a little bit more recently. So, I would say Withering Waves has that in the bag since they started off their game with doing that. Storytelling. Is Withering Waves storytelling better than Genshin's? No, it's not, because they use the exact same storytelling methods. Don't believe me? Legitly go back and see every moment, well, not every moment, but certain moments in the game where they're using 2D animation, just like Genshin is. They're using still images with 3D effects on it, just like Genshin. They're using props in the midst of a in-game dialogue scene, just like Genshin. 3D animated scene that's smooth as butter. Guess what? Same as Genshin. Right? So, in my honest God opinion, this whole conversation about, which game has better storytelling, they both do the exact same shit. Sorry. Even with Paimon talking less, not even talking less, but like not repeating information in abundance like she used to, guess what? They're still in the same ballpark as each other. Because I've caught some moments where Ambi was repeating information that was already dumbed down to us, that didn't need explaining. This was before we got to the finale of Renacida, by the way. I think it was like in 2.4, maybe 2.5 or 2.6. Around that realm, I started seeing it. I was like, why are you doing that? Anyway, So in my opinion, Withering Waves really hasn't really blown Genshin out of the water as people claim that it does. The only thing that it does, in my opinion, as I see as a very good thing, is that devs are responsive to the feedback repetitively in comparison to Genshin Impact, where if something does happen, we won't get like any notification about it either at all, or they'll mention it in like the next special program live stream, right? And talk about it there. So that is the leg up I will give to Wuwa's dev team. Absolutely. Because just like the Zenless dev team, they always listen to feedback to what people have about their game. And guess what? They respond in kind to it. And they do objectively good quality of life updates to the game. And some changes to the game that are a necessity for player enjoyment. Personally, I feel like Zenless Zone Zero need to bring the TV function back, because I really did enjoy the TV function. Anywho, let's continue. Ah, crap. The volume is off. I don't know how that happened. I didn't turn the volume off.
Years of waiting, because to me, it is not nearly enough. See, I genuinely believe that very soon, the Withering Waves versus Genshin Impact debate is going to become a thing of the past. I mean, with the way Withering Waves is pushing the gacha space right now, and with the number of genuinely impressive gacha games on the horizon, that conversation cannot stay the same forever.
True. But then, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna be even worse now, right? This whole comparison argument is gonna get worse, actually. It may stop for Genshin, which, thank God, I'm tired of seeing that shit. But on some real shit, it's gonna be worse for Withering Waves. Because as we saw with Ananta, in my honest God opinion, blows Withering Waves out the fucking water. The main character blows them out the water. Their gameplay blows them out the water. Their exploration around a giant city area blows them out the water. I'm sorry. It just does, in my honest God opinion. That's how I feel about it when I saw that trailer. The music blows it out of the water too. Little bit of sunshine. Oh my goodness, that song is gas. I haven't got it on my playlist. Every bit of sunshine. Oh my gosh, this is a jam. Anyway. And then with Silver Palace, as we saw with its most recent gameplay, guys, I didn't watch the video, but I saw a YouTube short. That whole combat thing where you're getting stomped on by the opposition, crazy work. I don't think I've seen anything like that in Wuwa at all. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm talking games like Ark Knights, whose release is just a couple days away, or Silver Palace, which keeps showing us more and more gameplay almost every single week at this point. We're seeing more gacha games actively trying to enter the conversation, actively trying to compete at that level. And really, with how far ahead Withering Waves is compared to Genshin Impact right now, the moment a game proves itself to be on the same level as Withering Waves, the conversation will naturally shift towards that game instead. There will be a point where Genshin Impact will get left behind. But what do you think?
I think Genshin Impact isn't gonna really get left behind. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's still gonna be within its realm, still doing good. Honestly, because people made the claim that Wuwa was going to kill Genshin and cause it to fall the fuck off. It didn't. So by that same sense of logic, the same thing's going to happen across the board for these other games that's coming out as well. Right? Because Genshin Impact is a strong IP. There's no doubt about that. It's not dying no time soon. Again, back to the points I mentioned earlier about storytelling, quality of life updates, character writing, exploration, gimmicks, and accessibility, and so on and so forth. Again, Genshin Impact has still done good in these realms, in the same vein as Withering Waves has. So the thing is, as long as Genshin Impact is excelling in those realms, just like these new gacha games that's coming out, Genshin Impact is going to be fine. It's not going to go nowhere. If Genshin Impact made exploration inaccessible to the overall player base by not implementing traversal mechanics built into the game itself and only kept them to playable characters, then we'd have a conversation there. Right, but that's not the case. Anyway, hold up.
What are your thoughts on the entire game?
I think I've said everything I needed to say about this video. Like, sub, turn on the notification bell, join my YouTube community, Discord if you wish. Link is on my channel. Links on the channel. Check out my yapping topics and my yapping reaction videos as well. Both playlists are available for all to see. And tell me how y'all thought about this video in the comment section below. Oh, another thing too is your boy is back, of course, from his 4-day absence. Cause you know your boy been fucking out of town because of a wedding and whatnot that I attended, which was really good. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time. Another thing too is I'm still working on my travel to strength video script. I'm still working on that. I may spend today, which is January 12th, and it is 9:03 in the morning right now. I may spend some time, you know, working on that script today. And hopefully I can start editing that video after I finish the script. Anyway, that's enough of that. This is KallaTheYapper signing out. Peace.